Good afternoon. My name is Scott Forcino, an associate broker with eXp Realty out of New York City. I founded PlugIntro so that others can meet who they should know and gain more and better referral partners. I'm here today with Marc Lawrence, who is an attorney and is a friend, and I want to hear what Marc is doing in the industry, his career, his background, where he sees the industry, and where he and everyone is going. So, good afternoon, Marc. Thanks for being here.
Hey, Scott, thanks for having me. Actually, it's funny when you say an attorney. I haven't practiced for 20 years, so that's
You still got that pedigree and that education.
Right. I sometimes think like an attorney still, and certainly know how attorneys think. But haven't missed the practice. I'm out of practice actually.
Good. That's better.
Yeah, and I don't miss it that much, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm. Well, everyone wants out, and every lawyer wants out, and you got out.
Yep, exactly.
So tell me about you. Tell me about your companies and your background and your history. I know you had a varied background and a lot of hands in the fire here.
Yep. So I'm New York born and bred. New York City, even actually. Grew up in Queens, in Bayside. Went to the University of Michigan. That was my couple of years away from New York. Then went on to New York Law School, and I practiced law for 6 years. Did not enjoy the practice of law. I hate the billable hour. It was the bane of my existence. I was a litigator, and as I always tell a lot of people, I consider myself a lover, not a fighter. So it was not a great match for me being a litigator. So I gravitated after about 6 years of practice, and right after 9/11, actually, that's a kind of defining point in my career, and gravitated into the real estate brokerage business. I was a real estate agent with the Corcoran Group for 5 years, selling co-ops, condos, and townhouses in Manhattan for about 5 years. Enjoyed it. Actually brought out more of my entrepreneurial side. I hated sitting at a desk. I hated sitting at the computer all day long. Now, of course, all I do is sit in front of a screen and a video camera. But now, fortunately, with people getting out a little bit more, I've been able to do a little more face-to-face networking. And but where I gravitated from after real estate brokerage was into the title insurance business, which a friend of mine who took over my law practice said this would be a great business for you. A lot of people, and it's a price basically fixed industry. It's a product, basically the same product for the same price. So a lot of people tend to work with people they know, like, and trust. And he said, you're starting off knowing a lot of people like you. So all I have to do is learn a little bit about title insurance to get them to trust you. And it would be, a good fit for me. And, it's my third career. So sometimes they say 3 strikes and you're out. So I'm at my third career, and been here now for 15 years in the industry. And, for me, it's been a great match because I enjoy getting out, talking to people, especially real estate people, having, a background of having been an agent, having been an attorney. I've always been in and around the real estate business now for, I counted recently, 28 years, or I'll say plus 25 years. So I've met a lot of people, residential, commercial, not just in the New York area, around the country, international sometimes. And I like sitting down and seeing what people's approach is, what they're doing to build their business, how I can be of assistance in helping them build their business. Putting people together is something I enjoy. I'd probably be a matchmaker. Although putting 2 people together for personal stuff, that's a lot harder than business, actually, because you never know what makes people tick. But so I've been in this industry for 15 years, the last 8 years with a company called Worldwide Land Transfer, which is based out of right outside of Philly. And we opened up an office about 8 years ago in New York City, in Midtown. And we've had that office since then, and brought our business in with them. And it's been a good ride, actually. It's been a good match. And, I guess after these many years, I finally feel kind of comfortable in what I'm doing, and, how to build that business and how to be of value to people.
Yeah, that's important. I know, what's funny is I knew you and then I met you.
Mhm.
And then now I'm cognizant when I see a Facebook post, it's Mark already beat me to it. Whether some of the people I know, and it was a pleasure meeting with you, talking about some of the people. I guess when you're stuck in this industry or locally in New York City, Long Island, Westchester, you know the same people and you run the same circles. And that's why you got to be a nice guy.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, that's was one of the things when I met you. Like I always, we knew a lot of the same people. A lot of times we'd like or comment on Facebook. We still do on a lot of the same people's
Hmm.
messages. So, but what I've found is that the good people find each other. So, fortunately, you and I, we found each other, and those are the people I tend to work with. The people that are like me that I enjoy working with. Not everybody is a fit, I think, for or they say that every pot has its own lid.
Right.
Fortunately, I find a lot of, or I'm the lid for a lot of pots, the good pots, the bad pots. I don't need to deal with them. They find their own lids.
You find their own, but you are I would say the most trusted part of the real estate business, because you don't have to go over loan docs. You don't have to worry about the roof leaking like a realtor. You don't have to worry about, even negotiating. That's an interesting point. You don't have to negotiate. All the other fields have to negotiate, either in a lot of with the consumer or less so with the borrower. But the funny thing is, you and I are a bit older, and I had a great conversation with someone earlier today, how trust is under attack, where everything in the world is now on your phone, and your cars are on your phone, and food, and every app can bring someone to the provider. All the venture capital and all the investors and the technology is going from consumer to the direct provider, and that's something that has not happened in title, as far as I know, at all. So everything is trust based in your industry.
Yeah, that's a great point. Actually, like I was a little depressed just when you said we're old. We're definitely seasoned. We've been around. People like you and I don't think we look old, but
No, we look great. I think we both look fantastic. But
you know
listen,
what? We
it's
still
a
have
privilege to get old,
a
right?
wrinkle out there. It's my thought life, but I guess Botox could take care of that.
You should. All right.
But you know, I like to think, or I like to say to myself, is that right? People like you and I came up, in a different business environment. When I first started practicing law, came out of law school. Not people didn't have not everybody had a computer on their desk, which
I
blows
didn't. Right.
my daughter's mind. That people just. I think I got my first cell phone when I started law school. I went all through 4 years of college never having a cell phone. I don't know. And that my daughter, who's 21, says, "How did you meet your friends out at the bar?" I'm
No.
like,
Well, Mark, listen, I got my first cell phone at 31
uh-huh.
years. I took the bar exam, had never touched a computer.
Yeah, it's amazing. So people like you and I, because we grew up, in a different era and environment where personal connections, were made face to face. You went outside, you played ball with your friends. You called them on the home phone if their mom picked up. They weren't
No,
home.
exactly.
Nobody had a phone of their own. You'd get a busy signal. Imagine that.
Hmm.
You'd have to call back. So even when I started practicing law, the people that were my mentors were the people, that were, the handshake meant something. They went to the 2 martini lunches, 3 martini
Sure.
lunches, and that's how they made
Listen,
relationships.
I'll tell you what happened. So it was 1991. I was at a law firm in Garden City, 1010 Franklin.
Mhm,
And all of a sudden, I saw a few members of the '69 Mets. And I
mhm.
said, what the hell are they doing here? And you know what they were doing. They were part of a title company.
Yep, yep.
So the lawyers were all gathered around from other firms. They ordered pizza. And I said, these guys, I was clueless. I was 25 years old. Now we still see ball players selling title because of who they are. It's right now. You and I know personal people who do that. So
Yeah,
it makes sense, because do you want to talk to me or do you want to talk to a World Series hero? Right?
yeah, exactly. I could think of some John Franco and the Mets. I think he
Yeah,
might sell
sure.
titles.
Others.
Mike Bossy just passed away. I think he was maybe doing some title
Yeah,
sales.
we know Jim too. A lot of people.
Yeah,
Jim's going to
yeah,
be on here, so it makes sense. I mean, the
yeah.
companies provide a good service. But that's why the trust, and I made PlugIntro to be a differentiator and a way to distinguish themselves. I ask lenders constantly, what do you provide agents? And I say it that way. It's not a RESPA violation. What do you provide? And the answer is good service. Say, well, even if you do give good service, A, everyone says that. And two, I said A and two. One and two, the fact is you only do good service inside a deal. When a deal closed, you have no good service to give. So PlugIntro is a way where you can feature yourself through these interviews, and a way where you can offer agents their own platform in some way they can promote themselves. No one has ever offered anyone else a way to promote themselves. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's what I really liked about what you were talking about when you told me about PlugIntro. I've done, as I said, a lot of networking through the years, but one of my key components, and when you're right, when you say, what do you do for your clients? I provide good service. One of the things I've always said that I want to provide for my service is help them grow their business. Now,
that's everything.
A lot of that is help them get exposure, help them, create content. This is a tool, for creating content, and that's really, you want to put out professional looking, content. You want to put out content that's interesting, that's meaningful. And, I think you're doing a great thing by providing that content, and also then, having people connect, based upon or around the content, and put their connections, with other people.
And people use the word content, and I want to get back to you, but the people use the word content. It's not what I want you to hear. It's that I want to give you a chance to let others hear what you have to say. That's really what it is. I don't have enough information. I can't do this forever where someone cares what Scott says. But the fact is, everyone will always care what they have to say. So we really just pass that opportunity on. And someone like you can give such a value to agents, lawyers, bankers. And then what's great? You're the provider, and they hold you in high regard. And who would I order title from? The person that's on a consistent basis offering a platform and a staff where they really, a guy like you. I mean, tell us about the faces and places you've been doing. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it really it dovetails really well actually with PlugIntro, because here we're creating, I don't want to use the word again, content, but we're creating highlighting people and showing.
Featuring. I say the word featuring. You're featuring them.
I like that word. Featuring, people, and getting to know them. So with faces and places, really, I'm, for social media, I'm basically taking the people that I meet on a day-to-day basis. With my videographer, we're going out. He's trying to capture a few good points made, a little bit less of the material that's provided, on PlugIntro. We're getting a full interview.
It's more day-to-day walking around. I love that.
Yeah, really, and just pull out a few good points, because I meet a lot of interesting people that have a lot of interesting things to say. So we're trying to, if the editing is actually a lot harder than anything else, because we could take an hour's worth of material from videoing it, but then finding less than a minute that are really key points to hit on and highlight people. So that's just another along with now PlugIntro, another place where I can feature and highlight some of the people that I'm meeting, because I always say I meet lots of great people, and if I could spend my whole day saying you should meet the 50 other people, I can make a list every day. But I love when people reach out to me and say, hey, listen, I need to meet a realtor who speaks Portuguese. I love the fact that over the years, I probably can pull one or two out that do. So trying to listen and find out what differentiates people, because I think everybody brings to a lot of these real estate businesses, certainly real estate brokerage, even title, mortgage, they bring their own, experience in what they've done. And a lot of people, this is not their first career in what they've done. They may have worked in the medical field. They may have worked in the recruiting field. So they have different, contacts from that. They have different, things that they learned, and everybody brings something different to their career and has something to add. And, I see one of the things I see also a lot on social media is I feel like a lot of people, they just try to sell you on social media. And I think that's the wrong approach. I don't think,
I have a thing where now you wound me up. I'll talk 2 seconds about it. When you see the broadcast. Social media is not that social. It's a broadcast about them, and I say that does attract attention. There may be some beautiful people, men and women, that you do see them. I mean, we know them,
Right.
but that attracts attention. It doesn't earn attention. It
Right.
doesn't earn because no one gave you Facebook. It's not yours. So we're here, I'm here, you're here. I liked Faces and Places because I know you and I know some of your victims. But the point is, if you like, we are here. If you're earning attention, then someone kind of, there's a chance for them to reciprocate. So a social media post is really just becoming like a vanity play.
I agree, actually. Listen, when you watch TV nowadays, especially with DVR, what do? You fast forward through the commercials. So I don't want to see, your commercial. I don't want to see the commercials on TV that are, paid for and professionally done. Last thing I want to see is a bunch of, realtors commercials for themselves and how great, they are. Listen, I do believe, it's important for people to know what you do and
get your name out there, sure.
But constantly, putting out, use me. You got to be, you do have to put on a creative cap for that, for social media, for these type of things, and show me what makes you different. Don't show me, the same. I sell this, I sold that. I always laugh in my industry when I follow the hashtag title insurance, and 90% of the pictures are at closings with someone holding a gigantic key. Yes,
Sure.
it's nice that they closed the deal. I'm happy. I always like to see, people reach the finish line and, have a new home, but is that really something someone's going to take away as memorable? That the Goldstein family, closed on their house in Roslyn. I'm happy for the Goldstein family, but it's not going to make me remember, that this title insurance company did that.
No, especially and in New York, it's so different because nobody talks about title. That's the lawyer does it or the lender does it in a refi. So title is the hidden industry.
Yeah, it's funny. I talk very little about title. My significant other always says to me, "You never tell anybody what you do. You need to tell people what you do, or they forget." And because not because I don't find it interesting. It's my career. There are interesting elements to it. Listen, a given in every real estate transaction, there is a title insurance policy usually sold. And again, for the same price and the same product, to me, it's more about the stories, and the people who were involved in the transaction than about the actual product and what we do. I mean, I can give our CE class on the nuts and bolts of title insurance, and even if I'm entertaining, probably half the people are going to fall asleep because it's insurance. Insurance by its nature is not necessarily sexy or exciting.
Well, people don't know. I mean, I've been asked 100 times, why is it expensive? Why do I need it?
Mm-hmm.
Why should I pay for the banks? That's actually not a bad question. Why should I pay for the banks? Well, because they're giving you the money. They're saying you must.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all these parts of them that come up. They're not compelling or riveting, but the fact is it's going to come up at every closing. It's the only insurance that I know. It's a one-time cost. Am I correct?
I believe so, actually. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but it's also very unique in that it's, kind of backwards insurance, I call it, in that, we were kind of insuring, the due diligence around the purchase of the property. Most insurance is forward or occurrence based. If a tree falls on your home, or somebody drives through your front yard and hurts somebody, or somebody falls on slips and falls on ice, those those insurance policies like homeowners or auto insurance, are basically covering you in the event that something happens. For us, we're actually insuring you based upon what already happened in the past, and making sure that we're ensuring that the records are, accurate. And if they're not accurate, we ensure that little piece of inaccuracy or that infrequent, errors, if something's misfiled, or if if there's liens or judgments that don't get uncovered at the closing, then that's a key part of title insurance is, not to get too deep into it, is really ensuring the homeowner that they're buying what they think they're buying and that there's no liens, encumbrances, i.e. you're not going to get sued. And if you do get sued, then we're going to, number one, pay for the cost of the attorneys, because that's really, if we're not covering the cost of attorneys, you could be out a couple $100,000, and God forbid, you lose the property because there was a mistake with the records, you could be out significant sums of money. So we insure, what is probably your, people's largest asset that they own, their home. So that's important. And, it's only, people only think about it when there's a problem. Fortunately, I think it's the least claimed upon insurance product in the market. Maybe about 4% of policies get claims on them. And how many pay out on those claims is less than that. Boiler insurance might be one of the other least claimed upon policies. So, the good thing is we're doing our job. The records are fairly accurate, and most of the times they're not claims, but there are claims they do get paid out on. And fortunately, in my 15 year career title, I only saw 2 claims, actually. One was quickly resolved. It was about a parking spot, and whether it was a specific spot assigned. Actually, it was a deeded spot, not a license, and just to get into technicalities. And, that was quickly resolved because they decided not to have an attorney. And
was that that must have been in Manhattan or New York City?
That was in Harlem, actually. The other one actually was a result of or came into play with a major criminal act, actually, and the person involved was recently sentenced to 8 years in jail and stole probably close to $100 million, or misappropriated, $100 million in banks' money. And unfortunately for him, it didn't end up well. But it led to us getting a claim, which hopefully, I don't think that we're at fault, in it. But generally, I probably don't like to talk about these things, but they happen. So
no, that's
we have to talk about them.
I was reading in one of the papers that the most expensive real estate in Manhattan is those caged storage facilities. That's a deeded spot.
Yeah, a lot of the new condos, actually. One of the things, that is prime space. This is maybe very much a Manhattan or Brooklyn, New York City thing. Is people buy storage space, and those things, they go like hotcakes. I mean, they get sold quickly because to have storage space in your building, a lot of Manhattan apartments are small, so be able to go downstairs and get the kid's bike is,
So can you imagine if I'm right, can you imagine, I know that not everyone knows, but imagine the Schedule A. How would you describe that tiny, it's like the size of a bedroom? Not even.
You'd have to do a survey of that space. But yeah, it's we're talking about 50, maybe, not even 25, 50 square feet of little small room. But, people are paying $100,000 for that, or more.
That's crazy.
So
but back to networking, because no one needs the real intricacies of something you're mentioning, and whoever's involved has the professionals involved. But I know that, I was at an event last night, and it's a bunch of title people meeting, and it's so social. And since the title companies do such a good job of ensuring the conveyance and people are safe, it really becomes a situation of, tell me if I'm right, who you want to work with, who do you like to talk to?
Yeah. In the old days, actually, we used to say the best title insurance people had the best Yankee tickets. It was very much, especially in New York, driven by, who took who to what games, what golf course you can get them out on. This plays a little bit into the old school business, that you and I kind of came up in. And a lot of that changed a couple of years ago when the Department of Financial Services in New York basically outlawed all of the entertaining. You really can't even buy someone a cup of coffee now. You can put on educational events, and that's something that I'm very big into as well. We have a program, Worldwide Education. We provide free CE and CLE classes for lawyers, CLE for lawyers, CE for real estate agents. We do probably, anywhere 2 or 3 a week. And with those, we get to put our lawyer clients in front of real estate agents, who are sources of business referrals for them. I feel education, anyone is always welcome to take those classes if you're interested in the subject matter, whether you're getting credit or not. Being, providing educational opportunities, it makes people better at their job. It makes them, just be abreast of any changes in the law or any changes in every month we do fair housing, which is, always changing area. It's a requirement for your license renewal. So that's been a really good source for us, really, since, the old school, paying for entertaining, pay really was a lot of ways paying for business, has kind of disappeared in New York. So that's really, the last 2 years, we built the program a lot on Zoom. That way we found a lot of agents. It's very easy to go downstairs, flip your computer up, log in, and get your credits and listen to our class. You don't even have to travel to our office, our conference room. I don't have to serve breakfast. I always say now you bring your own bagel and coffee, and we provide the educational opportunity and the credits and the certificates. So
that's great. We should let people know more. I mean, I thought you did that, but I know that education is paramount. Plus, it's required.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, the lawyers and the agents have to go somewhere, so it's not like it's not. They can't.
Yeah, traditionally, a lot of the real estate boards, board of realtors would provide those classes. They still do. Again, we don't charge for them, which
the board charges. I don't know if you know, but my board charges a lot for that, a few $100s. So I mean,
yeah.
And they are now really annoyed because they're offered almost everywhere at no cost. So they've been pulled out.
Yeah, it's nice. We've built up a good stream of regular attendees. I'm always happy when we see new names. We send that out. We have an Instagram page, dedicated to that, www.edu_. So follow there for upcoming classes. And on our website, we have a tab, www.edu Worldwide Education, where, we have all our upcoming classes. And I encourage anybody that's listening to this, check that out. Use that as a good way to, to see what we can offer you. Again, value add. It's what this business and a lot of these businesses are, is what can I do for you other than provide great service, get your